Neville, can you see my slides?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm really sorry. I was having difficulties. So I don't know whether it's a browser issue that I'm having, but that's thank you, Eamon, to give me the direct link. So I'm Connie Susilawati from Queensland University of Technology in Australia. And my talk is today is about equity challenges created by COVID-19, some temporary or permanent changes. So I don't mind with the order because some of the heavy lifting has been discussed by Najib. So I will have a easier path. Okay, first of all, I want to acknowledge the Turrbal and Yagara as the First Nation owners of the land where QUT stand. Now, for the outline of this presentation, we know that COVID is impact everyone, but I just have a really brief coverage what happened in Australia, what are the changes, especially temporary changes and permanent changes. So technically, I divided the time frame into first semester until mid of the year and then the second semester. And what are the equity challenges? So I will discuss about students and staff and not just undergraduate, but also research student. And I would like to finish off with the opportunities from this COVID-19. So this is from the Australian website. So this is updated daily, and this is based on yesterday numbers. So the numbers are quite promising. We only have 54 active cases, and majority of them is from the international arrival, people coming back to Australia from international trips. So we have also reasonably low total deaths compared to the other countries in the world. But I want to show that we have a second wave that is happened around middle of this year. So that's even bigger than the first wave. And we are really nervous at the moment. There is an outbreak again in New South Wales, Northern Beaches outbreak, and one of the COVID-19s actually traveling to the pub about around 5 kilometers from where I live. So hopefully no outbreak in Queensland. But having said that, we're doing really well. So those situation, the same as everywhere in the world, it's actually triggers some changes. So in Australia, government give a lot of incentives and support. So I just explain the terms, the first line as well, especially the first one is about job keepers and job seekers. So the Australian government provide support for workers that get stood down for through their company. So the company has been forced to shut down because of if they are having a place that the government actually decided to lock down for a certain period of time and stood down all the certain jobs. So for those workers, they entitled for the job keepers. And for the people who are still unable to find work and they are under the benefits, social benefits, they also can can obtain the job seekers allowance. So that's kind of the support for from Australian government for the cities, for the Australian, especially. Then this is until next March. Even with that and other changes of the laws, and I don't really want to explain one by one, Australians still experience a short period of recession. Unfortunately, we still have job losses, and but also that create an innovative or new opportunities for new type of job. And of the same as other part of the world, online purchase is going to the roof. So it's like people buying online rather than coming down to the shop. Now, so I'm going down to Australia, but it's also more importantly to the more related to this talk is related to the university teaching. But I need to give a little bit background as well. From March to June, there is this is the first states of that I want to classify into the first states of these challenges. And it's drastic change, basically lockdown, people been forced to work from home, and we heard this, we are in it together, so everyone experienced the same thing, and this is a shock to the system. And especially in Australia, we're not really used to have a online teaching, uh, and even in the tertiary level, only few universities offer fully online like delivery. And from March, the government decided it's happened for also starting from primary school and secondary. So the students, the kids is actually have to learn from home, and they cannot go to school. Now, one other things that impacted as well, so to giving a context, I listed these four boxes in the slides that all the courses that I have to do, this is what the courses that I did during that 3 months period, speed up my online learning, online teaching technology, and how to do online assessment. So I have to change the materials that normally we deliver face-to-face to online and assessment. I think this has happened to everywhere around the world. So QUT, in particular, we start lockdown in week 5, which is at the end of March 2020. And everything it's instructed online. So there is no, it's no preparation, no warning. It's just decided, pack your bag, go home and do it online. Now, the other things that QUT did is we are given a longer mid-semester break, which is in April around Easter period, to help us to prepare the materials to convert it into online. So this is a very tough for everyone, not just for the teaching staff, but also for the students. So we give a lot of compassion during this time. The students can ask for COVID-19 extension, and they can get like technically 1 week extra for doing their assessment. Now, that temporary changes is moving to some of the changes that's more permanent. So later on, I will show some of the permanent changes, but I just listed a few of this in here. So this is the permanent changes. It's happened right now, and I think it will happen for 2021 as well. So online teaching. The benefits of online teaching, we know it's really have a great benefit, is for student-centered, cost-effective, and all this in this infographic. If we design properly, unfortunately, during this time, we've been forced. So it's, we just have to do it. So there are issues that I will discuss. The challenges is related to hardware, software, infrastructure, which is discussed a bit by Najib. So I'm not going to discuss in details. And also what happened, challenges with those people, teaching staff and the students will be my focus. Now, for the teaching staff, so I mean, this is, we talk about everybody from young tutors to the our more senior and experienced professors. So they've been forced to do the same thing, whether you're teaching on in a laboratorium, computer labs, or you're doing it tutorial classes in a normal class face to face, or lecture in a big lecture theater. Everything shut down, go online. So that's create a lot of changes in terms of how to deliver that. So some people really have difficulties because they have not having an experience or knowledge to deliver that, and familiar with the software and that supported this. And by after some times, of course, everybody learn like what Najib and we use today. We using Zoom. So Zoom is quite popular for teaching, for meeting, and we do Zoom for social, for work. So it's really big changes in terms of interactive, how we need to do that through the different format of platform. Now, the initial problem was, this is a real experience from some of my colleagues. They haven't got a broad like NBN, so it's like the National Broadband Network actually installed in their home. So the problem is like the internet speed is quite slow. And the other things, because it's very slow, it's probably even faster to use a dongle or the Wi-Fi dongle. Unfortunately, that's become a scare. People panic buying maybe, but or you know, the stock is not available and so forth. But most importantly, in the work in at home is not prepared for working space, some of the family. And just imagine what I said before, everybody learning from home. So we have a young family that has to teach or helping the younger children to learn, whether it's primary or secondary. And for me, I have a university students live with me, so it's not that bad. But I can imagine the chaotic if you have everybody working from home at the same time. So it's really chaotic. Um, Now, with the equity challenges, for how about the students? So the students experience similar in terms of infrastructure and the software. So what we using, of course, everybody familiar with emails, but emails is only one way. And to collaborate, we start using Microsoft Teams, or we using Zoom. And we're using OneDrive as a collaborative work, like Word document and so forth. And the problem also that people, especially when they are like with having a mature age students, they're having their own problem or challenges. And Najib mentioned about the low socio-economic as well. It's really interesting. They're not just depending on that job seeker payment from the government, but some of them going back and live with their parents. It's like a rand boomerang sort of phenomenon happening during this time. And I want to sort of highlight also, this has become a real issue for people with disability, because I mean, like, it's hard enough for the mainstream students, but if they have some disability, even more challenging for them. And the experience, I receive a lot of comments, emails, or that students struggling with the fully online, using technology and collaboration. In the bright side, though, the student performance for the first period, they improve. So our student achievement, the distribution, a lot more student achieving a really high, like higher mark. So everything, despite the challenges, the students performing better. So this is it's interesting, and yesterday we have a graduation, and our cohort for property economic students actually have quite a lot of them get a distinction this year. I think one of the reason because this year their final year impacted by COVID-19, but in the better sense in terms of their performance. Okay, so what happened from July to November? This is where we're starting with the second wave, but it's not impacted so much in Queensland. It's more in Melbourne. But this July to November, we began to back to campus. So it's no longer like you can still work from home, but it's been encouraged to come back and return to campus. It's only staff return to campus. The students still listening or doing the lecture online. And if they come to campus for smaller class engagement like tutorial or computer lab, they need to scan a QR code for contact tracing purposes. We still have to do physical distancing, personal hygiene, and so forth. So that is COVID safe framework, return to campus, and we have this everywhere. Protect yourself and you will protect others as well. So it's really from September 2020. So it's become the government provide an incentive like additional help for people who working from home from March to September. But after September, the assumption is people back to work in the normal way. They're not working from home. So there are a few like physical barriers has been put it and so forth. The mix online and face-to-face and Zoom blended meeting workshop. So when I run tutorials, I have students joining online, and I also have students in class. So that kind of going to be the permanent change that's going to be happening, not just the semester just gone, but also for next year. So what's going on? I think I'm observing that the challenges for this second period, it's more prominent for research students. I think um, the first period is research students because they're able to concentrate, but they're starting getting the loneliness. They're struggling because they're working by themselves in their home, and they're struggling the same thing as the other undergraduate students or staff. Now, I have a student who have some disability, and during this time, he has to take a break because, again, Najib mentioned about too much screen time, and this is really bad for students who has a visual impairment. And I also have some colleagues that have some other disability, and it's really difficult. I know I have a student who has a hearing impairments issue. So normally, if we are in class, we can have another person helping with the sign language so the students can follow the lecture. But using online or Zoom, we rely a lot with the closed captions that provided by Zoom, but is not accurate and it's not available during the first part of the year. So it's available right now, but it's not really accurate according to what we observe. And like if you are having visual difficulties with the color, image, it's like you need a combination of everything to help the students with some kind of a disability. So lastly, we need to learn a new way of life or new way of study using technology for doing independent learning, but also using the same technology for collaboration. So collaboration in the good way will improve the productivity. But collaboration in a negative way, when students are actually working together doing the online exam, that is the problem. I think if anyone has some tips how to prevent those cheating online, the students working together, I think I'm really like to hear that. So equality is not what we want, it's about equity. So this is my last slides. It's about the opportunities. So I mean, like we know that I have this contactless delivery, which is something that people has to think on the spot. Okay, to we still need to deliver, but we try to reduce that contact. How do we do it? They have done with the contactless delivery. And now with the some countries, we allow the bubble, like country bubble, travel bubbles. That is happening also is a new sort of demand because of this COVID-19. And I never like I think everyone probably agree that this is a really a big global collaboration. It's probably once like never happened in my life that globally we collaborate, try to combat this COVID-19 and try to produce that vaccine. So this is a really positive outcomes out of the COVID-19, the collaboration. We're not really thinking about, this is like Australian vaccine, so it's you cannot use. This is for everyone. So this is the global collaboration is one of the best outcome out of the challenges that we have. And the technology disruption, it's like acceleration. Before we said, oh, nah, online teaching, I don't want to do online teaching. Now I cannot say no. QUT from 2021 will offer, if online, fully online course for property economics, if the student want to do it fully online. So whether COVID-19 problem is gone, but the online teaching stay, COVID safe and contactless new business opportunity will stay permanently, I believe. And a lot of artificial intelligence and the boundary of between countries is become really like you can have 24/7 services and international networking like what we did today. And it's really for me this is my first time uh, like join the ERES education seminar, and it's probably won't happen, but because of this restriction of travel I can meet with people from European Real Estate Society, so that's exciting. And related to what we discussed, I think there is a motivation or we need to design for inclusivity. So we need to design not just for certain age group. We cannot assume that it's only young school leavers. We all have to think about, we also have mature age students and so forth. And people with
Connie, sorry to interrupt. We've gone way over time. Do you think you
Oh,
could wind
sorry.
up?
Yeah, that's finished. So
I
this
was
is.
sending, I was sending some messages, but you were just so engrossed with an amazing presentation.
Okay.
But
Thank you,
we're
Nathaniel.
really
I will
running over
leave.
time, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
conscious
will
of the
leave
other
it there.
speakers.
I will leave it there. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Connie. That was indeed a comprehensive presentation. Thank you. Now, in trying to send some of the messages, I've lost my sequence here. Now, on the list of names we've got.
Gianluca papers now. This is
Yeah,
the third one.
the third item is talking to big data and real estate application to real estate brownfield investments. We ready for that presentation?
Yes, I'm almost ready now. I'm trying to share the screen. In the meanwhile,
I promise to give you that little bit of extra time, but I'm conscious of it squeezing in at the other end. So we'll start the timing sort of as of now for you.
Okay, so, okay, here I am. So I will start talking and the slides will come later because I discovered that I have some constraints for sharing the screen. So the lecture that I will do now is a lecture in which I will try to give you an idea about what we have done for managing an extraordinary event. What does it mean, extraordinary event? Wow. Okay, so I have a problem with the Zoom. It's telling me that I need to restart the system. So if you can go with Laura, I will join later once the system is ready. Otherwise, I cannot share the screen. Is it okay for you? Sorry for it.
No, that's quite all right. If we move on to the next paper, online teaching challenges, is that what you're asking for us at the moment?
Yeah. Sorry,
okay,
because
all
I
right.
restart the system. I don't know it.
All right. Now, who's got that paper?
Laura Gabrieli is there as well.
Laura.
Me.
Okay.
Should be